What if I told you that the secret to what the One Piece was in the One Piece Cookbook? A lot of people might think I'm crazy by saying that, but stay with me for a second and I'll explain why I think that is. Okay, for those of us unfamiliar with the One Piece Cookbook, it initially released in November of 2021, so very recently, okay, past a certain point of time. A certain point of time in which Oda declared where we are at in the One Piece story. Okay, for those of us who cannot remember, we are in the final saga of One Piece now. We are reaching the end when Luffy will find the One Piece. Now, this means that a few things. Firstly, Oda has a very clear picture on what is going to happen in the remaining arcs of the story. It's not a mystery in his mind. Everything that is going to play out, maybe exactly how it plays out, is still unknown to him, but the general story of what is going to happen over the next 100, 200, however, maybe even 50, who knows how much One Piece we have left, but what is going to happen generally over those chapters has been established in Oda's mind, okay? There has been hints that he's been laying all along the story of One Piece that we've only been starting to understand now as we get into these later chapters. I'm certain that as we move forward, more and more instances of this are going to appear. But how does the cookbook relate to what the One Piece is? And why, of all things, would it be in this? Okay, I'm going to answer that question first. Why do I think it's in this? I think it's because Oda wanted to inspire us and maybe put some hints in a different source of media that is official One Piece that maybe some people haven't taken seriously or even taken a look at all. I mean, this book, for those of us who haven't actually looked at it, is like filled with tons of One Piece literature. Everything and every recipe in this has a manga source. Just to show you a few examples, on every single page, on every release, you can see a few manga panels. Look, there's fried rice for Jin. Everyone knows Jin is a One Piece goat. We might still see him in the New World. I mean, what if the One Piece cookbook is even hinting at Jin's return? Now, a lot of people are going to say that the recipes that are in this cookbook are just, whatever the Straw Hats have eaten during the show. And I think that that's crazy. That is such a simple way of looking at it. The Straw Hats have eaten hundreds of things on the show. Think back to the most recent arc in Wano. Think about all the different things they ate at the banquet at the end of that arc. You're telling me that all the recipes that ended up in this book are just random? That's not the case at all, especially given the manga references throughout the entire cookbook to certain moments in the manga that then correlate to the certain recipe, okay? That shows that each one of these has been meticulously chosen and placed into this cookbook. Now, there are 4 recipes that I think hint at what the One Piece is, and more specifically, the situation that surrounds the discovery of the One Piece and the environment that goes into it, okay? These 4 recipes are titled Davy Back Fight recipe, okay? Whatever the food is. There's 4 different ones in this cookbook. I'll put them on screen now for you guys to take a look at. Throughout these recipes, all right, it's not what they are that's important. It's simply their names, all right? Why would any recipe be referenced 4 times from a single event? That doesn't make any sense to me. And no other recipe in this cookbook gets that same level of treatment. Like, not even recipes named after stuff that like Sanji did get this level of treatment. And you would think for the cookbook in which Sanji is on the cover of that he would maybe be like the main character, but no, these Davy Back fights get such a large portion of the book and so much focus. I think Oda's trying to tell us something. I think he's trying to tell us, first of all, that Davy Back fights are much, much, much more important than we might think, okay? A lot of us gloss over those arcs and think that they're not as serious, they're not important to the One Piece story, and that they're filler at the end of the day, but I think that that's exactly the opposite of what this book is trying to show us. If it was just filler, why would it even end up in the cookbook? I feel like more people would want to cook recipes that we see appear in the actual canon show than something that is just, off filler, I mean, that doesn't make sense. Another reason that I think that this is proof that, the Davy Back fights tie into what the One Piece is we have seen a lot of theories surrounding, Long Ring, Long Island, and that general environment. And the general environment is something we need to pay attention, because I think that's truly what the Davy Back fight recipes are referencing, is the island of Long Ring Long Island. All right, I think that there have been so many theories that have sprouted up surrounding the impact that potentially a previous Gum Gum user, potentially even Joy Boy, has had on the environment there. We know that everything there grows extremely tall, extremely large, because they're free. Everything feels an immense sense of freedom. There's also some strange weather elements and natural environment elements that kind of restrict the people of the island from moving freely. They're restricted by the tides, and they need to wait so many years before they're even able to move on to the next one. So to complete a full circle around all the islands would take a very, very long time, and it has not been done by any one living person as far as we know. But something we need to consider is, if Joy Boy would have been the one to do this, why did it happen there, of all places? And I think that makes a lot of sense, that the place that Joy Boy would have had the biggest impact is going to be the same place that has the deepest connection to the One Piece. Now, we don't know for certain right now that Joy Boy left a message or left something very particular at Laugh Tale. I mean, we know he left his message, but I'm saying we don't know what exactly that message says, okay? That message could tell us any number of things, and will most likely put the Straw Hats on their final voyage together, okay? Acquiring the One Piece is not going to be the end of the story. I think after the Straw Hat Pirates acquire the One Piece, they're going to set off towards Long Ring Long Island. I think there's something there that is going to be discovered, and I think the proof that something is hiding there lies within this One Piece cookbook. There are so many other examples in this cookbook, just to show you a few, that nothing in this cookbook is random, okay? Let's see. For example, we have this Skypiea lunch for a gold hunt, okay? With the reference to Skypiea made right below, okay? This book is not random. There's a lot of thought that went into each and every recipe that appears in this book, and Oda has made it clear that this book is canon, okay? Whether or not you want to accept it or not, this book was published by Shonen Jump and Viz Media, meaning that Oda had a hand in its production and its development. This book was not made by some random third party that has no affiliation with One Piece. This book was released and published by the One Piece, publishers, those who we go to consume One Piece content. That is where we went to get this cookbook. I think that it would be foolish for us to say, well, Oda just released something as a cash grab. Well, there are always going to be cash grabs attempts by major IPs. I mean, that's just obvious. But this, to me, seems a little bit deeper than that. We know that Oda isn't just outright and cruel as that to just make us think that a piece of written literature would have no relationship to the actual One Piece story. That's not the case, and not something Oda would allow. He has his hands in every little bit of One Piece content, whether we are aware of that or not. He was heavily involved in casting every single person of the One Piece live action TV show on Netflix. I mean, there is so much proof that Oda would not let a simple cookbook that gets released to not have his say and his control. We need to be aware of this, and we need to continue to keep our eyes and our mind open about the certain truths that might exist in some of these more alternative forms of One Piece media. There's a lot out there. Even, for example, the Ace storyline. There is so much development that we got for Ace in that story, and I would venture to say that 90% of One Piece fans don't even know that it exists. There is so much alternative One Piece media out here that is just being ignored, and not harmfully ignored, but ignorantly ignored. It is leading us to develop kind of underwhelming theories that aren't based on all aspects of the One Piece truth that we have. And the One Piece truth that we have includes all the manga on the shelf behind me, including this cookbook. I mean, there is just so much content for One Piece that is out there. We must consume all of it if we want to get the full picture and the full story. If we don't do that, we're just leaving things on the table, and I think that's just a bad and foolish idea. Anyways, let me know what you guys think of this theory down in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next One Piece video.